All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Looks like everything is fine. Playing Rivulet again. I've been enjoying this character. Not sure about the speedrun though. Or the official speedrun category, you know. I did some runs like this before, but I had dev tools on, so I'm removing that. Oh, okay. Well, that's the fruit that I'm getting, and then just going straight up here. Well, that was pretty good. I think I also want to try the min percent run a bit more. I think that if there's any way to get people interested in it, it would be to include more plinks. Because the single plink that is in story percent is pretty popular. People like to point it out, they're like, what is going on here? So if there's a run with a lot of plinks, then, you know, that's even better, right? That's how it works. But I realized that the one run that I completed, that's the fastest, has no plinks at all in it. So that's gotta be fixed. Right. Yeah, but I'm still bad at them. Too low. Oh, I actually almost climbed up. Now there are still creatures. I did disable those. Yeah, the spider. Got you. Okay, that was pretty bad, but this is better than nothing. Okay, here's the creature. Don't know what they're doing. Oh man. I found on here too much. I really need to be careful of that. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Almost got the rock back. I'm pretty confident that plinks are the best option in a lot of the rooms. If you do them first try. I'm not sure about like how long it takes if you add, you know, several attempts to do that. Especially for how difficult they are. It might take a lot of attempts. Hello, welcome to the stream. But if on first try you can immediately basically jump across the entire room, that feels like it has to be faster. I mean, I could go time it, but just like kind of swimming across the surface of the water, that's pretty slow. Was this enough food? Actually, I think I messed up the routing. Although it might actually, I think it's still fine. Yeah, it's fine, but I guess I could get extra food if I bring some with me into the shelter. I forgot to do that. Vulture grubs. I think vulture grubs are fine. I mean, they just kind of hang out. Ooh, damn, that's pretty bad. Don't do that. Just grabbing the pole, and then you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck going in that direction. Oh, damn. A little bit low. Still fine. Okay, I've been thinking about something. Wait, I just died. I was thinking about something just now. What is actually useful about a guide video? Or like a tutorial? Because I feel like a lot of the time, a lot of guides that I've seen about various games, it's just like an overview of what the content is. Like, let's say there's some game with a difficult boss. It's like, guide on how to defeat this boss. Sometimes the guide is just describing what the boss's attacks are. It's like, oh, then the boss will do this big attack. And it's like, yeah, okay. I can look at the boss and see that they're doing that. But how does that help me? I mean, I know that if I was struggling with the boss and I want to defeat them, I should just practice. And with enough attempts, I will figure it out eventually, right? So I guess the guide would be good if it makes that process faster. Or instead of figuring out everything on my own, I get a head start. It's like, oh, I can do this because the guide told me to. I guess that's more of like what it should be, right? Like strategies. Like, when they do this attack, you should do this for the best possible response. But let's talk about a speedrun. For a speedrun... this is a Western? Some people just say that. But if I'm doing a speedrun, what do I want to add to help me? Let's assume for a second that I don't know anything about the game. I'm a new player. I'm like, I want to try this speedrunning thing. What do I want to see from a guide? Because maybe just watching a world record run isn't very useful. Great. That, whatever I just did there, that would be perfect in Shoreline, because it was super, like, horizontal. So whatever I just did there, I need to figure out how to replicate that. There was this video, whoops, about Celeste. I think Celeste has a very interesting like speedrun community, but it was like a tutorial on like a beginner guide to Celeste speedrunning. Because Celeste has a crazy skill ceiling, of course. My gosh, I'm bad at this again. Celeste has a crazy skill ceiling, so you can't just tell a new player to do what the world record does, because they can't, and not many people can at all. No, he pushed me out, man. Maybe that's what people think, because that's the advice, or that's what I tell people. Like, oh, you want to learn how to do the speedrun? Just watch the world record and do what they do. Maybe they're thinking that they can't do that because it's too difficult. I'm not really saying do the same exact movements that the world record does. I'm more like saying follow the path that the world record takes. But you can do whatever you want. Just try to move fast with whatever movement tech that you are comfortable with, right? Slug dog. That kind of sounds weird. Maybe we're just too used to slug cats, but... Slug dog? There is that game where you play as like 2 dogs attached on one body. It's like a co-op game. Maybe that's what it looks like. I guess the guide could be like, this is the movement that is useful in a speedrun, and what you should work on learning. Because if you just look at them like the movements documents, it's like just full of a bunch of random stuff, and it's like, what of this is actually useful? And I would also say you should do practice runs with creatures disabled. That helps a ton. But I see so few people do that. I don't see many people speedrun at all, actually. Yeah, maybe that's what it would look like. Like, here are the moves that are generally the fastest in most cases. So that, you know, oh, hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm actually talking about speedrun guides right now. Like, slide bounces are fast, right? So it's like, okay, if you learn how to consistently slide bounce, you will be moving faster. Movement guide? Well, there we go. Yeah, I mean, like, for Celeste, right? Celeste is way more competitive. So you can't just do that to get a good time. It's actually extremely difficult to get a good time relative to other runners, so... But then it's like more of a journey. It's like you have a wider range, a wider range of skill to traverse. Hello? Okay. I don't know if I like missed the key or if I like just did the inputs wrong or too late. Was that how it works in Doom? I know like 2 things about Doom. But yeah, it's like there's the movements and then there's creatures that get in the way that you need to learn how to deal with separately from movement. Actually, let's not do that. Let's what if I just bring 2 fruit with me? Wait, is that enough? Yes. Okay. Slug frog. You can't just take slug and combine it with everything. How about a slug turtle? I think that's like the best approach for like a movement guide for speedrunning. Basically say what is the most, like, take all the movement tech, right? And rank it by how often you use it in a speedrun. And then you take like the top 10 of those, and that's what you encourage people to learn. Like, learning these things will give you the biggest benefit. That are generally applicable across the entire game. And then you could say, okay, here are the things that are a bit more complex that you're going to have to put more effort into learning. but they may be worth it in these specific cases, you know? Like on the wall, right? You can do a whiplash to climb up. So okay, I really suck at this. You can use a whiplash, a wall pounce, to climb up part of the wall, right? And that is technically a good option if you don't have any items. But thank you. But like, do you really need to teach that to a new player? No, there's like alternatives. I think adding the wall skip is a good idea. It's so useful. Oops. Also, something that I think would be worth doing. I don't know. Surely someone's done this, right? Just testing what movement tech is the fastest on like flat ground. Because honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I kind of just do whatever. But if you're like on a perfectly flat area, and also let's say you have no items, what movement tech is the fastest? Because there's still a lot of options, right? You can like just chain slide pounces, or you could like do rolls. Like, is it better to do a slide pounce into another slide pounce, or a slide pounce into a roll pounce into another slide pounce? Some people just chain roll pounces. I think that's probably slower. Excuse me? Wall skip can be its own video. Infinite snail slide? What? What is that? Yeah, you can like turn around. It's not very good for Rivulet. I've already tested that. Or like in garbage waste. Like garbage waste has very uneven terrain, right? So it'd be good to show like what is good movement to do if you're in an area with uneven terrain where you can't do slides. Okay, well, let's say you also don't have a creature. You have no items, no creatures, no nothing. And right, if you do have items, it's even more complex because E-slides are added in. It's like, do you do just the E-slide or like pounce afterwards? Or I guess like doing the slide and then the pounce is the best. Also, it's all different for Riv because they're way faster. So don't use this as an example. I'm talking about Survivor mainly. I get Survivor and Hunter movements are generally pretty similar. I tried to make this video like twice, where I just tested a bunch of. Oh damn! I just barely missed that. Where I basically tested every single way to move for every character and comparing them all side by side. But I never finished that. Yeah, that too. That is part of the strategy too. Like, is it worth using an item in this room or saving it for the next room? Because you're not guaranteed to find another throwable. But that's like quite complex. That you kind of need to get a feel for from doing a run a lot. Like, oh, doing E-slide in this room is like really worth it. So always save an item for that. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I mean, Survivor and Monk petals percent are pretty popular for new players, yeah. Or new speedrunners. Usually it's not new players who are speedrunning, but you could pick a few locations on the pebble percent route and show what movement is best there. Like at the top of Chimney and the top of the wall, those are really flat areas. But then like in outskirts, like that's more uneven. A little bit more complicated. Drainage system has like swimming. I want to do some moon percent runs after this. I mean, after I don't know how long. But eventually, I do want to include more planks into that run because I think it'd be fun. Okay, I finally did that correctly. Maybe I could make a video about wall pounces. That's like my specialty, kind of. Although I actually still don't completely understand them because there's always like small variations you can get in the angle of the jump. And so I don't exactly understand it. It generally doesn't matter, like most of the time both versions of the wall pounce still work. Well, they kind of just got in the way. I've also thought a little bit about Lethal Company speedrunning. By the way, if you ever check the Lethal Company leaderboards on speedrun.com, and especially the extended categories, there are like 1,000 categories. Like, not even an exaggeration. That's probably how many there are. Well, I guess you wouldn't really call them categories, but it's like there's different there's different like leaderboard for every set of like 1 to 4 players, you know, because your group size changes a lot. So from 1 to 4 players, it's 4 categories, plus or times every version of the game that is relevant. So for every speedrun that has anything to do with all the creatures, you know, that changes with every version because there's going to be new creatures added in every update. So for every combination of players and versions, plus whatever the objective is for the speedrun, of course, it like adds up to like hundreds of categories. So if you want a world record for Lethal Company, go find some random extended category, and you can find one that no one's done before. And a lot of those speedruns are like casual playthroughs. Like you might just find like one of the videos to be just a group of people just playing the game normally, but they just also work to kind of keep track of some other objective they have. But for actually like speedrunning the game, come on. Most of it, I mean, it's very RNG, right? How much scrap you get on a moon. Oops, I did that wrong. So if you're going for a high quota, you might get unlucky and get a really bad, items. Whoops. But generally, it's just like play well, you know. Play fast, look for items efficiently, know when to take risks. And hope you don't get randomly get killed by a Bracken. Oh, come on, I've missed the pull. Why am I dying so much here? I haven't even made it to Pebbles yet. I really like the Jester, but I feel like they're so rare. Because not only, they only show up on, like, the hard moons, right? And they're still a somewhat rare spawn, and people like to just leave, you know? The Jester shows up and you're like, oh, time to leave, and then you just don't interact with it at all, right? But, like, there's like, some clips out there of, like, really crazy moments with the Jester. Like, those are some of my favorite clips. Because as a game mechanic, maybe it's kind of annoying. Actually, I kind of like it still. If there's, like, scrap really, really deep in the facility, it does prevent you from getting that. But, you know, you could still work around it. You only have, like, 2 minutes to go in, get items, leave. If the Jester's around. That's a kind of sad thing about Lethal Company. A lot of players, or a lot of people who play casually, don't see the most interesting creatures. Because they spend time on the easy moons, and they see, like, you know, loot bugs, or they're called hoarding bugs. Thank you. Hoarding bugs, snare fleas, spiders, you know, all the common ones. And the really interesting interactions with the more rare creatures are, I mean, they're more rare. Coil Head. Coil Head is also fascinating, but really annoying. Oh, actually, I know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I'm doing wrong. There we go. That's better. The Coil Head also facilitates good clips. Like, there's 2 ways to rank creatures, right? Or I guess 3 ways. One of them is, like, how does interactions with this creature lead to interesting moments? And the other one is, how fun is this creature to deal with? And the Coil Head is, like, really, it leads to crazy clips, but it also is super annoying to actually, like, once you have to start dealing with it. They're basically, if you look at them, they can't move. But if you look away, they move very quickly and they insta-kill you. So if you're alone, you need to put all of your attention into staring at the Coil Head, and it's very hard to do anything else. Especially if another creature is involved. Like a Bracken. And the Brackens, they try to sneak up on you and kill you without you knowing they're there. So if you're staring at a Coil Head, it leaves a very wide opportunity for a Bracken to show up and kill you. That's a very dangerous combo. But even just moving around, if you're like really far in the facility and you find a Coil Head, good luck finding your way back while staring at the Coil Head the whole time. That makes things very difficult. If you're with a group, it's not as bad. But when I think of Lethal Company, I think of the Jester and I think of the Coil Head. I think those lead to some, like, the most interesting moments. That would actually, okay, Shrub, I missed your message earlier, but that would be a really, really useful tool. I've done that sometime, where I would, because I've tried to make, like, segmented runs before, where I would do a bunch of runs in a single room until I perfected it, and then I'd move on to the next room. And it's a huge pain, because I had to record, like, a ton of clips of me doing the room. Really? Yeah, I'll just continue, I guess. But I'd record a ton of clips of me doing the room, and then I had to sort through all the clips, and cut them, and find the one that's the shortest, keep that one, and move on to the next room, and it took forever. But if I could just see the time, and it's like, oh, that one's the fastest. I might actually go and make a segmented run if that tool was made. Because then I could actually have a much easier time finding the fastest routes and be confident with it. And also with the lap mod kind of bothered me because it's on by default. So when you leave a room, you get set back to the beginning of the room. And you have to press a button to move on to the next room. Normally. And I always forget to press that button, and I end up going backwards in the room when I don't want to. So it should be like a toggle, like you turn it on and it's like, okay, I want to loop in this room. And you do your thing, and then you turn it off, and you can move on to the next. Like, that's how I think it should work. But that would have to be part of the normal mod. But also something that messes up segmented runs like that is item spawns. So, you know, ideal movement to the room might involve multiple throw boosts. And if you get unlucky and you don't have enough rocks to do that, then you can't do that movement, right? So do you set up such that each room has the best possible movement, including item spawns? Then, like, some rooms you might be spamming EI hops constantly because you're gonna set up the rocks in advance to, like, so you can pick them up after every EI hop. That would be not reflective of actual strategy. So maybe it'd be like ideal movement on one run. So whatever the rocks layout are, I just keep them like that. No way, 5 pebbles in real life. Oh, that was funny. Just enough gravity to slow me down. Whoops. Yeah, that's the direction I wanted to throw in. Yeah, sure. Okay, looking to the moon. This is gonna be an annoying cycle. Yep. Thank you. And also, this entire segment is totally random, whether the gravity will be on or off. So, like, this would just be impossible to do. Is this gonna be the joke for the entire stream? Like this room. Navigating that is like surprisingly difficult because because Rivulet will want to like automatically climb up. Or I guess you could do two things. Do the entire speedrun in 2 layers. On 1 layer, you have no items at all. So, assuming you had no rocks, no spears, no creatures, what is the best move you could do? Okay. And then you do a second run where you always have items. So you have that mod that basically has a rock in your hand the whole time. And what is the best possible move you can do if you always have rock? And then you combine the two, so by default you do the no items route, and then whenever you get a rock, you move to the with items movement. Oh, actually, I forgot to eat a neuron. That's why. Oh, wait, I don't have dev tools on. Okay, we have to redo all of this. And then I guess you could kind of do the same thing for 5 pebbles in this run. Do the whole thing with gravity on, and then do the whole thing with gravity off. And then you just like switch between them whenever it changes. But I don't know if there's a way to control the gravity without just waiting for it to change. Nice turn, Surge. You good? That guy was not okay. And then you do a third run where there's creatures in every single room. Nah, that doesn't make sense though. Remember to eat your fruit. Whoa. Sometimes you still get the jump speed from normal gravity. Okay, try to grab a neuron here. Oh, come on. I really want to do that movement there. And like swimming, any swimming section at all, what is the best movement for that? Right. Like, I don't think there is such thing as perfect underwater movement. I mean, I guess there technically is, but it'd be impossible to replicate. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I just messed up. Hey, that actually worked. Good strategy for that room. I mean, you'd normally be pipe boost if it was already low grav. Is it okay? No. Don't do that. Hey, see ya. Stopping by. No way, it's rain. This is rain, right? Why would you do that? That's kind of mean. What do the pigeons ever do to you? I have enough food. Yeah. This is pipe yard, right? Yeah, this is rain. I think it plays when you enter pipe yard from industrial, right? Unless that's a different song. This is not a real run, by the way. I'm cheating. No music? Wait, that's actually... There we go. Literally just had this music on the whole time for no reason. Thanks for telling me. Yeah, pretty sure all the movement in this area is close to ideal. Okay, in there you can like slide pounce directly onto the pipe if you space it correctly. A little bit late or early, I don't know. Not ideal. Cell activation. He's in the middle. That's good. Oops. Kind of a bad spot. Kill though. See, we're way down at the bottom. Oh, he's right here. No, if I could have saved that, no way though. I actually usually don't listen to in-game music. So like the Rain World OST, I mean, okay, I don't really play Rain World off stream that much. But for most games, I mean, I think it's nice at first. Like if I'm playing a game for the first time, obviously I'm gonna have the music on. It's important. But over time, like, nah. And I'm probably listening to something else other than the music. Like, it's not just like silence. Let me try to do this better. Okay, a little bit late. That segment is so consistent. Oh no, okay, I didn't think I'd make the... I didn't think I'd be able to make the jump all the way over here. I probably could have, considering how far this pole goes down. I was like, oh, I can't make it over here, so I'm gonna try to wall jump off of this, but then this guy was trying to get me. Okay, I'll just die. I mean, I think we've all probably eaten some bugs. Maybe some very small ones. Probably not any spiders, though. Okay, that was close. That was close to good. See, even there, even in that position, you can still just ignore them. The DL isn't real. It's only in your head. Seem to be high up. Okay, there we go. That was decent. That's true. They are in Pebble's head. I mean, the whole structure is kind of his brain, right? No. Come on, man. Why am I failing this so much? This should be like one of the more consistent parts to run. And if I'm dying, it should be to DLLs. Like, oh yeah, the DLLs, they're random. They try to kill you. That makes sense, but like, the rest of this should be fine. Has 5 Pebbles ever considered just ignoring the DLOs? Just ignore the rot, it's not real. If you don't think it's real, then it won't be real. That was jumping. That could have been dangerous if I jumped into the ceiling. I think this song is too happy. It's too positive. Hold on, I'm pretty sure it plays in Outer Expanse, so maybe it's fitting. Oops. See, that was the problem, blocking your head there. You can't jump from too high up. Nobody does. Oops, I did that wrong. That was close. I wonder if Underhang is anyone's favorite region. I mean, the answer is probably, or almost definitely yes. There's like everything. You could name anything, and that is someone's favorite thing, or favorite within some category. There's just too many people. I guess there's no, there's more than that. One person could have more than one favorite. Whatever people are like talking about a game that's like bad, it's like, well, someone out there probably really likes it, or they're really nostalgic towards it, or They don't really care that it's bad, and they just kind of like it anyway. And they might be considering something completely different. Like, oh, I'm a speedrunner. I don't like this one region. That's really annoying to speedrun. It's like someone doesn't care about that at all. They just think it looks cool, or it has good music, or something happened while they were there. You ever like listening to some song while you're doing something, and then you associate that song with that one thing forever? Or like like a specific time in your life. Like maybe the song isn't that interesting or good otherwise, but you associate it with something else completely. I have no idea how I did a backflip there, but it worked out, and I'm dead. That is one of the places where what variation of the wall bounce you get is relevant. You want a higher one, of course, or maybe a slightly more horizontal one. I don't know. How do those lizards get enough to eat? Who knows? If you ate the brat, would the brat eat you from the inside out? The fruit grew back. That's how many times I've died. What were you doing? Maybe they're freaking out a little bit. That's actually a good idea. If you really like a song, don't listen to it on repeat for several days in a row. If you want to still like the song, future. Don't do that. Not quite what I wanted to do because the DLO was in the way, but it still worked out. No. Okay, I would like to not die from this point on. But this other game, had its 1.0 release recently. It's not Nova Drift. It was Core Keeper. If anyone's familiar with that game, it's kind of like top-down Terraria if you want to simplify it a lot. But that like pretty much describes most of it. Like mining and exploration and like upgrading like top down instead of okay, that was a little bit of a risk. I didn't know if that would work, but you can do that. Oh come on, I didn't even do the okay, I'm convinced that you can't actually wiggle out of anything's grasp. So it's never worked. What does it work on? Like white lizard tongues, and what else? Because it's not those. It's not the proto DLLs. Use it for Dome Keeper. Dome Keeper. There's like 5 games that are just like Dome Keeper. That's like that became its own little genre. Like there's actually another game that is basically Dome Keeper but like vertical instead of like Dome Keeper is like on the surface and you're digging down underground. The other game is on a wall and you dig into the wall and you fight on the wall. It's basically like Dome Keeper if you rotated it 90 degrees. I think there's probably like more games that are just like that. I'm chill, we're chill. They kind of feel like Flash games to me. Like those games, but with like less content. That's just the Flash game, you know? Like almost the same exact kind of feel. Especially with like the upgrade system. Like, there were a lot of Flash games like that I played. That was close, but you really can't die there. But Core Keeper it's a separate thing completely. It has nothing to do with those. Much more similar to Terraria. That was close. I'm really cutting it close here. Constantly. And it's an interesting game. I don't know if I want to stream it though, because it kind of takes forever to do anything. I mean, maybe it's been improved because I played it in early access. Because it's been in early access for a while. Like, just like digging, like the whole world is like underground. And you have to like dig through walls to get to anything. So like, maybe like 10% of the game is just digging through walls. And then there's like still like progression in combat and farming. There's also, while we're talking about this, there's another genre of games that are basically very similar to Hollow Knight. And I'll describe this here, okay? Metroidvania, all right, just like as your baseline, you know. You know, like platformer probably, although not necessarily. More or less focus on platformer like gameplay. Some sort of like, okay, and then you know like a big world to explore. You get upgrades to unlock more parts of the world, right? But then the ending or the final boss or whatever is locked, and there's like 4 keys or four locks, and you need to find the 4 keys scattered across the world, and those are like the main objectives of the story. Or like 4 or 3 or more. There's like a lot of games that follow that formula exactly. Can I do backflip? Oh my gosh. Also, good job, Morris Lizards. No, they got me. Okay. I tried to do backflip several times. They have a small protagonist, right? I feel like at this point there's like 6 of those games. Like an indie game that is like that has like a decent amount of content, right? But like the main objective is to find like 3 or 4 of these keys to unlock the final area or final boss. Oh, Mini Shoot Adventures actually did a very similar thing, so maybe that's kind of counts as part of that. But I feel like maybe I feel like those games are good. Most of them tend to be good, but they're not special. There's something missing. Oh, I've never played any of these games, by the way. Most of them I've seen from Scurry's channel, who has played Rain World before. So you may be familiar with them. Mainly play Hollow Knight, and so it makes sense to play games that are similar. So my experience with the game is like a 1 hour edited YouTube video. So maybe I would enjoy the game a lot more if I played it myself. But I feel like just watching it, if like watching a game, if it's like a really good game, sometimes it's still like I feel that from just watching it. Like Outer Wilds. Because I also did not play Outer Wilds, and I watched a 1 hour long edited video of it. But after that, I was like, whoa, that game was something different, you know? And I feel like with these games that are very similar to Hollow Knight, I didn't get the same feeling. I'm like, oh yeah, it was just the same thing again that I've seen a few times already. Maybe I could have been more immersed in the world or the characters or the story. Or maybe the combat is like really good and most of that was skipped over because it's somewhat repetitive. Or at least when watching it in a video. Goodness. What was special about Hollow Knight? People really love Hollow Knight, right? I think, first of all, it was one of the first big indie Metroidvanias. It kind of like started that whole trend. So I guess in that sense it was new. I think the story, like I was watching a video, another like blind playthrough. I think it was Oliver. Oh great. I have no idea what just happened, but it worked perfectly. I think it was about Oliver. Anyway, I think it was actually the story. I think the story is maybe one of the more interesting parts of it. Which, I mean, I guess it's spoilers. There's the Hollow Knight, who is holding the infection, and at the start of the game, some of it like leaks out. So a bit of infection leaks out of the Hollow Knight, and it kind of infects the world once again. And you know the main character shows up, and you have to do something about that. And basically, oh man, am I gonna like? Do I need to explain this? Basically, there's this king dude, and he's like, trying to figure out a way to deal with this infection because it's like kind of ruining everything. And a bunch of different like groups of people try to figure out a way. Like in the Soul Sanctum is what it's called. People were experimenting with soul, and that led to extracting the soul from like thousands of people. So there's like rooms that are just filled with like hundreds of dead bodies that were used for their soul, just to find a way to potentially get rid of the infection. And it didn't work, of course, and I'm dead again. Maybe I should just restart. Maybe if I do this all and start again, it'll go better. Sure, guess I'm open to recommendations. But the king's plan was to create a bunch of like vessels, and these vessels would be born in the void, make them like hollow. They'd be made of void essentially, and if one was found to be like pure, to be like completely empty, they would be perfect for containing the infection, because the infection uses your dreams or something like that. They control your mind basically. So if there is no mind, there's nothing for them to control, and it can be contained. But the Hollow Knights, the one that was picked to contain the infection, they were not pure, because they had a moments with the king. And because of that, the infection is leaking. So you show up as the main character, and you basically replace them, or you fight the infection directly. I don't know. There's like a bunch of like there's the like cutscene where you're escaping the abyss. Is that what it's called? I feel like I'm doing a much worse job of explaining it. But I think that whole like storyline is more interesting. It's just an interesting concept and like pretty unique. Ow. I feel like I'm not really that interested by many of the other games' stories. Just goodbye. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Also, I have not seen anything about that other game that I forget the name of for some reason. The one with parrying. I'm still like avoiding spoilers for that, which I think that game is actually special. Like that game is different. Unrecoverable damage to video games. Sorry, that did damage to me. 9 souls, yes. I will play that game eventually. Because the combat also looks really fun. Alongside potentially having a good story and whatever. I mean, I don't think it's horrible. Like obviously if the story is the focus of the game, then you can't do that. So I think it's like good for games where the gameplay is what you're there for. And then if you really like the game and you enjoy it enough to care about the story, then it's like, oh, you can dive into it deeper and learn about the world slowly. I think that kind of makes it interesting. But yeah, if the story is important, then it should probably just be part of the game. I mean, Rainbow kind of does the same thing. It's like not very direct. Like Pebbles talks to you once, and maybe you can talk to Moon for a little bit, and then that's all the story you get. And I guess whatever you can figure out from observing the world. But I think that's more interesting. Like, would Rainworld be worse if there was some character that explained everything that was going on? Like, oh yes, the ancients lived forever ago, and they, you know, they built these massive structures. Like, I guess Moon kind of does that, but you have to put a lot of effort into getting the pearls to figure that out, and you get it in little pieces. I guess, like, once you know what the pearls are, you're looking for them specifically. Like, at this point, I mainly value games based on how unique they are. And here we are playing Rainworld. Example 1, you know. But if I see a game, and then, like, I've basically already seen the same thing before, then I don't really care much for it. Like, I mean, I don't really play shooters, but I feel like literally every single shooter looks the same. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Maybe it has one interesting gimmick that, like, sets it apart, or maybe the story is particularly good, or maybe it was like it innovated and, like, you know, added something new to the genre. But, like, I don't really care much for any of them. And anytime I see, like, a trailer for a new one, I, like, is there any value in that at all? Wow, another game where you, like, walk around and, like, shoot people, and I don't know. But I guess that's kind of unfair. I've never really been interested in those. But I guess, like, what about, like, platformers? Like, every platformer roughly has the same controls. Like, you move left to right, you jump, maybe wall jump, and, like, dash or, like, double jump or whatever those mechanics are. In that case, it kind of feels more like a baseline, you know. Here's the basic platformer controls. Do whatever you want with them. You know, make whatever world or whatever story you want. I guess, like, for shooters, it's the same. Like, you're a character who walks around and you have, like, some sort of weapon. But I feel like 90% of them are, like, photorealistic, or, like, war / like, military themed. I don't know, maybe I'm just being picky. Yes, that worked. I almost died, maybe? I kind of got stuck on something. No, I don't even think I got grabbed at all. And I didn't try to wiggle my way out. I just kind of, like, jumped a little bit. Right now would be a good opportunity to eat this Neuron. But Riv doesn't want to. I wish you could jump from poles like a bit slower. I don't know how you'd control that though. Okay, that's pretty good, I think. Maybe. Okay. Can I get out of exterior? Yellow. We're chilling. Really? Okay, I'll try. Nice. Just believe. Also, I feel like I've heard something with how the DLLs work that I'm not 100% sure is true. I think it was that only 2 of the tentacles can actually grab you at any moment. So like the rest of the tentacles are like just grabbing onto the environments, right? But then 2 of the tentacles are like actively trying to grab you. And as long as you avoid those 2, then you're safe. So when they're all clumped up, right? There's a decent chance that you just randomly avoid those 2 tentacles. As long as you keep moving. Or maybe that's a Riv thing, because I've also heard people say that Riv can move fast enough to avoid DLLs. Or not get grabbed. Oops, I messed this up. Okay, that was just as close as it could have gone. Thank you for the Cogmind reminder. Cog reminder? I feel like that game is definitely special. Or maybe it's just because it's so different than the games I normally play. Out of those like traditional roguelikes, is Cogmind like unique? I mean, it definitely feels unique because of the visuals. That's why I was interested in it mainly. Or not mainly, but like that was a big part of it. Because I don't want to have to like get used to like understanding like letters. Like text-based graphics. It basically means that there's a level of there's a barrier of entry that is just like understanding what you're even looking at. I'm sure it's not a big deal, but finally did that wall pounce. And that one. Wow. It's like I practiced it. Hello? Wait, what did I hit? I threw that. Huh. Also, that was like a chain of crazy stuff that just happened. I think I did a ploink into the water, which stunned me and made me drop the cell. Okay, see ya. Maybe I should stream it. I don't know, because I've been enjoying some content recently that has been like blind playthroughs. Yeah, this is the run. I've never done that before, by the way. I don't like. That was a very strange death. But anyway, but I think it's like it's partially frustrating and partially like fascinating. Like watching someone play Rainworld for the first time, I usually don't actually enjoy it. It's like just a lot of dying and like backtracking, or not backtracking, but like just going through the same area many times because they don't have enough karma for this gate, so they like just kind of keep wandering around randomly, and then they die a few times, shelter a few times, maybe they finally make it to a new region, you know. I do think it's fun to see people's reactions to some of the crazier things, like the entirety of Pebbles. Or the Void Sea. Like, watching the entire thing is like kind of tedious, kind of takes forever to make any progress. I know that that's like the game, that's the point of the game. Or like Celeste. Like Celeste, I really like Celeste. But it's difficult, and it's supposed to be difficult. The point of the difficulty is to help you relate with the character. And to like accurately represent the like struggle of it, you know? Like the game is about overcoming very like big challenges. I don't know how to put it exactly, but you know, the mountain is this like thing that you're trying to get to overcome. And so the game is also a difficult thing that you're trying to overcome. Okay. But if you watch someone play Celeste, it's a lot of like dying to the same room over and over and over again. Because it's difficult. It takes multiple attempts, right? Of course that's what's gonna happen. When you're playing it yourself, you don't really care because you're constantly improving. You're like focusing on the game and trying not to make mistakes or trying to improve, trying to react to things, you know. So it's fine to play on your own. And it's one of the few games where dying is not frustrating. You might die 100 times in a room and you won't mind too much. Maybe. Probably depends on the person. The thing is that I know these kind of games, they're special, right? They're the kind of games where maybe you can only play it once. Maybe that first like blind experience is the best part of it. And try to figure things out and learn. That is the game. But also those are the games where it's like kind of the scariest to go into because you don't know what to expect, you know. It's like, okay, the best experience is not know anything, but now I don't know anything, and I don't like that. Am I dead? Yes. Didn't expect this to be so difficult. Usually it's like the first half, or like the beginning of the run that's kind of difficult, and then you kind of cruise through the rest of it. So I kind of want to do that. Like maybe some games I should just play and just be like, I don't know what to expect. We're just, you know, going along for the ride. Just try to figure things out. But also, I really like playing games that I'm super familiar with already. That is a lot of what I've streamed so far, right? Here is some game that I already played a lot, and I really like, and I want to talk about it. That is kind of the format that I've been doing. Outside of Rainbow. What did I just do? Is that like a short head bounce? But weird. Oh, I like forgot what to do for some reason. I'm actually making a game right now that is kind of inspired by Noida in a way, because you know if you're familiar with Noida, the way it works is that there's basically a game. Excuse me? Really? Okay. I'll try to finish this run. Okay. I will try. But there's the game, you know, it is a roguelike. So you try to go down, you make it as far as you can, you die, and get reset back to the beginning with no progress made. Right. And there's no long-term progression either. But that part of Noida is only a fraction of what the actual game is. Because if you look at the map of the entire world, the areas that you go through in a normal game, it's like a tiny little portion of the world, and there's so much more out there. Although I will say that the quality of that content that is out in those further parts of the world is not as high. They did not put as much effort into it, and it totally makes sense because like who is going to go there? A very small fraction of players. But there are still like boss fights and like spells to unlock and like things to do, and like entire endings that are just hidden that like most players have no idea about. I think that's kind of fascinating to like realize that this world is so much bigger than you thought it was, and that you kind of want to explore it and try to figure out what is going on, what is like, how do I access these places. But for Noida, actually, I think a big problem is it's super hard to actually get to the point where you can even explore it at all, which is because you can't heal. You can't heal and you can't dig. There's only 2 spells. I think there's only 2. 2 spells that I'm aware of that can reasonably dig through everything, and that's Luminous Drill and Plasma Cutter. Although I'm not entirely sure about Plasma Cutter. But if you have those 2 spells and you know how to use them, then you can technically dig wherever you want. Or black holes, but they have limited uses. So 2 spells in the entire game out of like hundreds, right? If you get lucky and you get those 2 spells. As for healing, there's only like 3 spells that can heal you, and they're all limited uses. As well as a few perks. And technically some of these perks could be used for some consistent source of healing, but usually it's still pretty difficult to maintain. You're not going to always be at full health when you want to, right? Might have to put some effort into it. But there's a boss called the Alchemist, and they're kind of the gateway to long runs, to runs where that let you explore the whole world and see what's going on out there. And because the Alchemist drops spells that let you copy spells infinitely. So infinite healing, infinite black holes, and potentially a lot more damage on your like offensive spells or wands, right? So if you can find and kill the Alchemist, which is also in a kind of hidden area, like not too hidden, but they're definitely out of the way, so you might not even know they exist or know how to kill them, because they're kind of a difficult fight if you don't know anything about them in advance, right? If you could do all that without any source of healing, by the way, so you know you might be at very low health by the time you get there. If you do all that, then you have just unlocked access to the rest of the game. And that is actually quite a lot to ask for someone if you don't look up like anything on the wiki or watch any videos about the game. So if you're playing it completely blind, it's very hard to get to that point. I think that is like the one problem. Because healing is super important, right? You're constantly going to be taking damage unless you're like crazy at the game or have a ton of defensive perks. So you're pretty much expected to take damage. And eventually you're just going to die if you don't have any way to heal. And this one boss is the one thing that prevents you from healing infinitely. And that's also if you find a way to heal yourself. So out of the 3 healing spells, there's Healing Bolt, Deadly Heal, and Circular Vigor. Circular Vigor is by far the easiest one to use. You just cast it and it heals you, and if you find a way to make it infinite, you can heal yourself forever. Okay, that's great. It's also a super rare spell. Healing Bolt is a little bit easier to use. It's a projectile, and if you can hit yourself with it, you heal. Hitting yourself with a projectile is actually kind of difficult. Dude, really? Like, I mean, there's like some ways to do it. You can put it on a trigger, you can put it on, or if you have like boomerang spells, or if you can like cast it in water, it slows down the projectile and you can run into it. If you figure out one of these ways, then technically it is infinite healing, but also it's only a flat amount. It heals you like 7 health per projectile. So if you have like 1,000 health, it kind of takes a while to heal yourself. And you might need to find a certain place to do it, like water, so not 100% effective. Deadly Heal is interesting because it doesn't hit you. Even if you do find a way to hit yourself with a projectile, it doesn't actually hit you. You need some way of adding like self damage to it. So like spell modifiers like Piercing add self damage, Bloodlust adds self damage. And usually it's super dangerous, right? It's like, yeah, this can potentially make a weapon very strong, but if it damages yourself, then you might just kill yourself instantly. So you kind of want to avoid that. But for Deadly Heal, you want that to hit yourself with a healing bolt. In which case it actually hits you quite a lot. So you need to figure out all of that to get all of those spells, which is just random. Okay, oh man, I'm falling apart. Hold up, give me a second. Alright. So, if you find the fairly rare spells that let you heal, and you know where the alchemist is and you can go and fight them, then you can heal infinitely. And the entire world opens up to you. Also, actually, there's another requirement in there. If you can edit your wands, because normally you can only edit your wands inside of the Holy Mountains, and once you leave a Holy Mountain, you can no longer use it. So there's ways to escape the Holy Mountains without destroying them. Like teleport, destroying the walls, but then you anger the gods and they're pretty dangerous. Stream just cut out. But then, like, even if you do maintain the Holy Mountains, you still need to, it's a physical location that you need to return to every time you want to make an edit to your wand. So like the other option is the perk that lets you edit wands everywhere, and it's like super useful. So add that to your list of requirements, and if you meet all of those requirements, then you can heal yourself infinitely, and you can and the entire world opens up to you. You can now explore so much more, and actually like discover the secrets of the game and the hidden bosses and like all of that. But it's such a safe requirement if you're playing blind. It's kind of sad because it's like it takes such a long time to get to that point. Just to like start like exploring more than the main areas and a few extra that are next to it. But anyway, the reason I bring this up is because I'm inspired by Noida to make this game that I'm working on now. Basically, I want there to be a similar thing where it's like, here's the game, the basics of the game, where it's you know, just normal progression. You know, you fight through these enemies, you defeat a boss, you know, whatever. That's the game. But then there's more than that. There's more areas out there. And, you know, you'll need to, like, uncover how to access those areas in the first place. Maybe you need certain weapons to break down walls, like explosives. Maybe you need to find a key to open a locked door. Maybe you need to solve a puzzle to, like, enter a password, you know. Just various things like that. Where if you go out of your way to explore and to try to figure out how to access these areas, you can, and you will be rewarded with new challenges, new bosses, more content, right? I think that kind of thing is very exciting. Where if you pay attention to the game and you solve the secrets, then you get more content. That's your reward. It's kind of like the opposite of Breath of the Wild. Because the whole idea with Breath of the Wild is that you could go to the final boss immediately if you wanted to, but it's ideal if you explore the world, if you prepare yourself, right? And once you've done everything, or a reasonable amount of stuff, then you're ready to go and fight the final boss, right? But this game is kind of the opposite of that. It's kind of like you go straight towards the final boss, and I guess Noida is the same thing, right? You go straight for the final boss. That's like the basic, the normal game. Then you realize, oh, there's all this world out there that I can go and explore that I didn't even know about. And you know, there might be more bosses or more endings or more things to do out the open world. So like the first boss that you fight has like the normal ending that is not actually the final boss. Fine. Okay, I made it. Goodness. That jump was really difficult. I used to be more consistent at it, but I've been struggling recently. Also, I've been kind of fascinated by like some older games that kind of have really obscure secrets or like hidden content. It's like, how would anyone know to figure that stuff out? And maybe it would be really hard to figure out, but maybe with enough hints and it's like the idea that something is out there, maybe someone can discover it eventually. Okay, we're moving. Why do I still eat the caramel flower? It's part of the route. But, I mean, I'm expected to always do it, so I might as well still do it. Mainly, the only reason I have caramel requirements turned off is so that I can ignore drainage system. Just skip that segment because I don't like it. I guess it also lets me keep going if I die. Oh, I could have grabbed that pole. I don't know why I didn't. I usually don't fall all the way down, but I thought it looked like I was perfectly lined up, so I just went for it. You know what? Maybe I'll play Dig or Die. Maybe that's what I'll stream. So I was like, kind of struggling to like come up with ideas for streams, but like maybe I should try that game because it's really interesting. No, I totally messed that up. Dig or Die is very similar to Clean Fall, if you saw that stream. I think it's one of the main inspirations, actually, but I can't confirm that 100%. But it's another game similar to Terraria, you know, not top down, side scroller, platformer, like sandbox kind of game. But it has this really fascinating mechanic that I really like. Basically, there's a day-night cycle, and every night you get attacked by this big swarm of enemies, so it kind of becomes a tower defense, trying to like survive this huge onslaught. And you can build like turrets to defend yourself. And which enemies show up during the night depends on which enemies you've killed in the overworld. So at the beginning of the game, you know, it's going to be a bunch of weak, like basic enemies that you find in the first area. But if you explore a bit more and you enter a more difficult area and kill the enemies there, suddenly those enemies will show up during the night, and you need to defend against them. So it kind of leads to this very, very interesting gameplay loop where you explore the world, you make progress, but you don't want to kill any new enemies because that'd make the tower defense section too difficult, right? So you do this thing where in the morning you immediately run to a new area, try to harvest as many materials as you can, and you'll probably end up killing a few enemies from that area too. And with those new materials, you try to upgrade your defenses or your weapons to fight back the new enemies that you just angered, and that will now show up during the night. So every time you make progression, you also increase the difficulty a lot. And it's super interesting. Because you're basically setting the difficulty for yourself. Like when you choose to anger new enemies, that will then show up during the tower defense sections. You like that game I'm talking about? I do. I am a fan of it. The art is a little bit not good looking. It's not the greatest looking game, but I don't mind that at all. I'm just wondering if I should stream it or not. Probably, I guess. And also, like, all your weapons have recoil, and that's like the main way that you move. That's your movement upgrade, getting weapons with more recoil. Sometimes though, people say that a game's graphics are bad, and I just disagree. Like Undertale, people say like Undertale looks bad, but I'm like, it's totally fine. Like maybe it's not like crazy. It's not like photorealistic, of course. It's not. But I think it looks totally fine. It totally works for what the game is. Terraria. People say Terraria looks bad. Are they buying? In that case, I'm actually wondering what they're talking about, because I think Terraria is totally functional. And a lot of the times, extra visual effects just make the game harder to like understand, harder to process quickly. I think that is what I value a lot more. I personally think that stylized graphics are always better. I mean, just look at older games that tried to be photorealistic, but of course they just didn't have the hardware for it. So those games look really bad today. But stylized games of that era still look totally fine. Like Wind Waker. Wind Waker looks great, even though it's like a GameCube game, right? Because it has that cell shading, it has that like cartoony look. But you try to make like photorealistic games and that without hardware, it's just not possible. But of course nowadays, you know, that's not the concern. Yeah, not water hop. I mean, I don't have a crazy good computer, so I guess it doesn't matter for me, but I'm not playing these games anyway. Oops. can't say about the games getting more realistic though. I feel like we've kind of reached the limit there. I guess maybe in like render distance. But there's ways to get around that, like levels of detail and like backgrounds. That aren't like 3D objects, they're just like illustrations. Kind of more enjoyable to play. Welcome to the stream, by the way. I mean, this is obviously a really bad run. But I have karma requirements turned off so I can just skip the beginning of the run, the karma caching. Anyway. Let's do an actual attempt of moon percent. I don't even have to exit out of the game, isn't that wonderful? I should probably record this, right? Hold up, let me restart this. Okay. This is a nice song. I'm not very confident with the plinks, but I will try. I think in one room, I think the plink is necessary because, you know that room in Shoreline with the all like it has a shelter on the top and it's like tends to be covered in lizards. Salamanders for other campaigns, but for Riv it's orange lizards. It's really hard to get past those. Or no, was that a problem for Saints? Maybe I'm misremembering things. That was the problem with Saints, definitely, but still annoying to navigate as Riv. But if I could get past that room with the plink, it'd be very nice. And also, of course, the last room of the run. That's a given. I could probably also improve my swimming. And also the red centipede, we gotta watch out for that. Ow. 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 Please. I do feel threatened a little bit. Oh, perfect. Okay, okay. I didn't even need to slow down at all. Oh. Okay. Hold up. There we go. Maybe I should have just thrown the spear. Whoops. I can't fast forward one. But I need the spear for this, so... Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. No, we don't. That is a bad jump. Also, it's like almost raining. So shoot, I'm messing up a lot. A lot of mistakes still. Last room that's dangerous, this one. No, it's over. I can't get up there. Okay, let me not throw like every single room. Some of the movement is actually kind of difficult. And garbage waste is just kind of always hard to navigate. Unfortunate because the red centipede was in a great spot. I wouldn't recommend doing a backflip there, but I guess if you want to, it's cool. That's a potential idea for a character, actually. A very, like, powerful character. But they constantly are using up food pips. I guess based on how much you're moving or your, like, actions in general. So you need to be very aggressive, like, hunt creatures constantly for food. Like, think about Artificer, right? Artificer is absolutely capable of killing tons of creatures. And so you're usually gonna have a lot more food than you could ever need. Like, you can kill a single vulture very easily, and that's like all the food you need for one cycle. So like, why not just kill another vulture or another lizard, right? But I guess it's kind of the same idea as just having food requirements, right? If a Slugcat needs lots of food, then they're probably pretty strong. Like, Hunter needs more food than Survivor. He needs more food than Monk. Is this the centipede again? Okay, somehow I didn't get grabbed, even though I jumped right on him. Just mess that up. Come on, man. The only time you're ever up there. If I had like a spear. I mean, I should probably pay attention to spears. Like try to grab a spear and just hold on to it constantly. A quarter pit for a double jump? That would be awful. Sorry. But it is true. Artie is overpowered. Although I guess I'm generally not a fan of that kind of archetype, you know? Like, they're very powerful, but they have a huge downside. For Artie, it's the scavengers. Like, I would rather remove the scav. I would rather... I guess I'm saying I'd rather play Hunter, right? Artie's campaign, but you're weaker, but there's no scavengers, right? Or I guess, and there's no scavengers. It's kind of, I don't know. It just kind of feels weird for Rain World. It's like a power fantasy. Like the opposite of what the game is about originally. I guess that's what the DLC is for, right? Exploring new ideas. So they did that. I did Leech get me. Please. That leech actually slowed me down a lot. Wait, it's a green leech. Wait, did I take fruit food from me? I think I need to get food from somewhere else. Shoot. Because that leech... I forgot they're green leeches. These fighters just love this location. It's all they do. Oops. Ah, shoot. Yeah. Nice trap these guys set up for me. I don't know what I should have done there. I'm not sure. Would that be better for a DLC to basically be the same as the base game? Like in the base game, you're like, oh, you're just like a little animal at the bottom of the food chain trying to survive, and you have no real impact on the world. And like the game is not built around you, right? Okay, what if the DLC was just the more of that? I guess maybe that could be shown like, oh, Artificer, even though they're so powerful and they have all these explosives, they're still not doing anything. The scavengers still live on. Ow. Ow. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because you do have a pretty significant impact on the scavenger population. And the other characters have a pretty big impact on the iterators. I hope the Watcher is more of that though, because there's only one character, and it's been like a few years, so just more of like more. I hope Watcher is more similar to Space Rain World, really. Oh come on, not again. Yep. Okay. You know what? Let's just restart. Okay. Priority: avoid leeches. Okay, we're safe. I'm still not good at swimming, but not being leech. You know, the urge to learn to swim, like for real or like in Rain World? Sometimes it surprises me a little bit that, well, not like really, but it's like kind of strange to think that like swimming is not just like an inherent skill that everyone has. It's like a thing you have to learn. And like it's like obvious if you think about it. Like, I mean, we can walk, why not swim? Oh, I didn't mean to grab that. Well, it's like riding a bike, you know. Don't fall. Don't fall. Thank you. Like I guess if you learn to ride a bike as a kid, then that is how it is. You know, you just know how to do it, and that's it. Yeah, that is true. Not usually out there swimming. Try to do a backflip there. White lizard. Well, shoot, I needed that spear. Am I just doing this a long way then? Okay. It's kind of funny that swimming is something that people do. Like, why do you swim? Like, oh, so I can like if you go to like some pool and you just swim, like, what are you doing? You're just like going back and forth. Oh shoot. Okay, I missed. We're safe. Like, are you going anywhere? You like making any progress? Like, no, I'm just doing it. I guess we do a lot of things that are kind of pointless. Shoot, wait, I forgot. Shelter immediately. Good exercise, yeah, that's true. Doing anything is good. That isn't sitting. Anyone else think it's kind of crazy that humans can basically do anything? Like, we're very capable of learning a ton of things. And also a ton of, like, skills. Like, physical activities. Like, choose any sport or physical challenge, and you could probably train and do it eventually. And maybe some people have, like, advantages, you know, due to genetics. But for the most part, you can at least do decently well. Pretty much whatever you want. Oh, that was thick. Please don't get in the way. Oh my gosh, if that eel killed me after that. Like, I'm just gonna go normally because this eel's in the way. And also, learning whatever, you know, that includes stuff that we just invented within the past, like, 100 years, right? Hold up. I have to lock in. Like, why are we good at video games? Okay, it's fine if I miss it, if I mess it up a few times. Hold up. This is it. That could have gone a little bit further, but first try. No scavengers. I'm in. That was good. What was my previous climb? 820. So that was at least 20 seconds faster. And it included some plinks that were really good. I'm very happy about that. Maybe I just end the stream. Just, you know. I have no need to try to improve that. I guess I could have had one more plink. Or two more plinks, I guess. But the ones where I got the plink, that was like perfect. I don't think I can improve that. I guess, like, you know, garbage waste could have been better. But that was like RNG. The main reason I wanted to improve that was for a better shoreline, because I looked back at my previous run. That was the best time, previous PB, and that was like had no plinks at all, or maybe like just one at the very end. So I think I'll just end on a win, you know, end on a victory. Like, I could go back to story percent and like die a few times, but you know, we've already made it. So yeah. That'll be the end of the stream. Thanks everyone for watching. See ya.